All right, here's part two. So I didn't really hit on all these little spots here. Um, these guys here I glued in. Probably got a little more anal than I needed to and got those little spots in between there. The glue, no glue needed on those ones. Use some of the scrap on some of this stuff and just use that white duct tape I was talking about. You can't even really see it. And as discussed prior, you just get yourself an extra 3/4 of an inch width so you can tuck that all in so you're not having to compensate with tape running along the edge like I have to do on a couple of spots over there on that end. So you guys saw how I did that over there on that side, shoving that up in there with the paint scraper. Make sure it is a rigid paint scraper that has a lot of beef to it. I mean, I can't really even bend that one. It's kind of a bad boy. So had it for freaking 20 years, but who cares? So these guys up here were pretty easy to install. However, what I did on this end made it even easier yet. And as soon as I find my freaking light, we'll go show you. So that lip that you see up there is screwed in on the outside. So that top screw is what holds that lip in all the way down. All right, there we go. So yeah, very top one. So I actually ran the freaking 12-foot ladder all the way down here and unscrewed every one of those sons of bitches and came back inside, and with very little use of my handy little rigid scraper, put the insulation up there. The corners are always going to be a bitch because you just can't get up in there. They're not perfect, but it'll be fine. So if you got somebody on the outside of the building that wants to unscrew all those while you're going down and ramming through and then tighten them up on the way through with you, more power to you. However, I'm probably a little anal in how I do things, and it probably takes me a little bit longer than what I'd like to. Therefore, when friends are over, I'd just like to get them out of here, but it's just because I appreciate their help and minimize their time. But, when you're a little OCD and, boys will be boys. So you just take the freaking time and just get her done. Other than that, well, this is kind of same idea. I've got caulking through here on every corner. That's another thing that, we could probably need to discuss is these buildings are slammed up and they're pretty freaking sloppy. So when they got here, I put caulking on the base rail, kind of slowed them down a little bit, but they drilled all the studs in there and they flipped the base rail upside down for me. I took my blower in through here to get all the dust and all the shavings and all that shit out of there. And then put caulking, actually a freaking badass construction adhesive on top of it. And then they placed the base rail down. After that, I caulked between the base rail and the siding right here. And after I got this other shit up, I'm going to actually caulk down along the base again. So the base rail's going to be triple caulked. It's probably freaking overdone, but whatever. So I think I'd rather have overdone than underdone. Another little story up here on the top. So there's a huge gap in between the roofing and that truss that you see there. So what you see, the white stuff in between the insulation and the truss is freaking foam insulation. So I didn't use the usual. I used another Loctite product. So the great stuff apparently doesn't expand and contract with whatever you adhere it to. Supposedly the Loctite did. So I sprayed that all in there, and it looked like shit when I sprayed it up in there. And I actually took a razor blade and cut it off and made it flush all the way down. So did that in quite a few spots. Did that in the corners. There's a lot of airspace in between those corner beams and the metal as well, especially in between the corrugation. So you can probably kind of see. I'll go over here and show you this. So I did that spray foam in the big spots all the way down here. However, there's still spots where I had light coming through. So I did like a 40-year caulk and ran it down along the sides there to hopefully have that sealed up to where, you know, forever or until after I'm dead. Which will happen someday, hopefully not soon. So, try and get this thing done before that day. I think that's probably about it. It's a lot of freaking work, guys, but the guys that built the building wanted nearly $4,000 to insulate the walls. I've got a ton of hours in it, that's fine, and less than $1,000 in material. So I ended up getting that from Lowe's for less than 150 bucks a roll, 100 footer. However, Lowe's did something freaking crazy and like made their price jump 60, 70%. I contacted the manufacturer. They said Lowe's is screwed up. However, Lowe's hasn't fixed that yet. There's an online manufacturer that you can order them from, and if you're interested and wanting to get that, let me know and I can post that on the comments or whatever. So, anyhow, rock and roll. It's probably like I don't know, 40 beer job. Just watch your intake on that high ladder. So, hope I'm helping some folks. All the best.